In preparation for CVPR 2026, we're going to work on one specific idea, and that is that we are launching an army of robots to actually learn about the world and create a digital twin of the world, a world model. I think there is a misconception in the market between what a world model is and what its purpose is. In fact, it's exactly the other way around. Most people in the market, almost everybody I talk to, they see world models as a digital twin of the real world. And the purpose of world models is for agents to learn in simulation how to behave and then transfer that into the real world. We have a radically different approach towards the world model idea, and that is that the world model is going to be evolving out of the interaction of agents in the real world. In other words, we're using the data of agents and their exploration and action in the real world as source for the world model, augmented, of course, with all the other intelligence that we have, whether it's semantic knowledge, large language models, or the imitation learning slash behavioral cloning that we already have from all the robot labs. So we believe that those are all good ingredients, but the most important thing is that we start bootstrapping the world model development or the creation of a digital twin by launching an army of humanoid robots in particular into the world and have them learn how to behave in the real world. And then from that data, which is action and actuator and transformation data, from that data we can then create world models. So this is, I think, a radically different approach, and it is our goal to expose this idea at CVPR this year and see what the feedback will be. And I think this is a good example of also for people who listen to this podcast, who've been listening for a long time. The purpose of this podcast is to give people a sense of what it feels like to run a hedge fund. And we're in the knowledge business. So it is our goal to not just gather the knowledge and information, but also create new knowledge. And that's how we actually invest money and make money in the markets. That's the only way you can compete with the financial markets, which is probably the most competitive place in the world. Nobody can replicate your strategy in the market. You're the only one that can actually replicate that strategy. And therefore, we believe that having this approach and also investing accordingly is the right way. Now, what that means for our investment strategy, as probably most of you know, we are invested in NVIDIA and Tesla. Now, there are other companies that probably can take advantage, but those are the main pillars of the strategy because they're in the real, they're combining the real world with world models, and they're starting with the real world. In the case of Tesla and with NVIDIA, they're bridging the real world versus most other companies, whether it's world labs, physical intelligence. Physical intelligence actually is similar, but let's say the Kunz company and thinking machines and all these companies, they're starting with the virtual world and then hoping to transfer the virtual intelligence into real world intelligence. And we fundamentally disagree with that. So I think to summarize, the idea of a world model is a great idea. And it starts with a robot learning how to behave in the real world. And ideally, the morphology gap is very small, and therefore we use humanoid robots because they look and feel and behave similarly to humans. We then translate that knowledge into the world model. We iterate and create a flywheel that actually creates a data avalanche of learning and improving. Last thing I want to say, just in terms of bootstrapping the actual robot behavior, we believe that the pre-training, mid-training, fine-tuning strategy will be the right approach here. And that means that we learn from video data, we transfer the video action data into actual real robots, have them behave in the real world, collect that data into the world model, improve the world model with the real world, and create this self-reinforcing data avalanche, which then eventually will create the world models or the digital twins of the real world. Now, with that, of course, there's a lot of new avenues can open up. For example, we can build better technologies. We can learn how to better behave in the real world. So there's a lot of new potential coming from a real world world model, and I think that shouldn't be underestimated. That the availability of such a model per se will open up all new avenues of learning and developing new technologies based on the learnings from the real world. Thank you.